rolling start, as we've said, so the cars should get in a nice, neat 2x2 formation. Obviously, that hole on row 2 is not helping, where Jack Lees isn't. So there should be a gap there. That might give Joe Locke, who will come through from row 3 of the grid in the number 8 car, the red car you can just see going through shot there, might give him a bit of a chance to steal a march on some of his rivals. But red lights go on, they go out, and away we go, and it is Richard Wise, and I think it's going to lead down into Redgate Corner for the first time. Trying to come through on the inside, there is the number 4 car of Simon Walker-Hansel, and is he going to get through into second place? Not quite. Leon Morel just about holding him off, or is he? They head to Hollywood, and it's the very experienced, the much more experienced Simon Walker-Hansel, although not necessarily in bike sports, on the inside line, and he has gone through, or has he? No, Morel fights back through the Craner curves and down towards the old hairpin, and he's just about held onto it, so a cracking piece of driving there from Leon Morel to hold on to second place, but it's Richard Wise that leads.
But did Morel run too wide out the old hairpin? He did not. He managed to hold on, so flat out on tyres and that aren't fully up to temperature at this point through the Craner curves, fully committed. But that has allowed Richard Wise to get this gap, and you can see that he speed these cars travel around the Donington Park circuit. Some of the quickest cars you'll see at Donington Park all year long. And Richard Wise is going away in the Mattel, but now Joe Locke is getting involved in this battle. He looks to the outside of Walker-Hansel into the S's. Won't be able to make that work. Then there's a load of Radical PR6s behind, but it is the Mattel that leads. Then here comes Morel, Walker-Hansel, who breaks desperately late into the hairpin, but I think gets the car turned in. Julian Griffith is there ahead of Alistair Smart. Those PR6s are all getting themselves together, but now Liam Morel is starting to go away from Simon Walker-Hansel after perhaps a slightly late braking move into the hairpin there.
So round Goddard hairpin, there you go. Coming through to complete lap number 1. It's number 88, Richard Wise leading. Number 1, Leon Morel is second. Number 4, Simon Walker-Hansel is in third place, and it's Joe Locke in fourth position in car number 8 as the cars go over the line to start their second lap. A change of position further back possibly there. So that's Stephen Bell coming through, getting place away from Matt Moore, so he goes up into 8th position as a result of that. And just behind Moore is Ash Hicklin, number 16, who was a winner at Mallory Park on Boxing Day. So
a good start there from Steve Bell. From 11th on the grid, his 8th. I think he there went in towards Redgate. There's car number 12, which is Andrew Fido, who sits in 11th position ahead of former champion Richard Stables. But there for third position, Simon Walker-Hansel starting to come under pressure from Joe Locke as they make their way round the top part here of the Donington Park circuit. And Fido there is now going after Ash Hicklin, who's been a podium finisher in the past in these races. But now with a standard engine in the car, is coming under threat from the tuned engined Andrew Fido, who goes through there using the extra power down the straight towards the S's, and he goes through into the top 10. There's a great gaggle of cars here building up behind Alistair Smart.
Yep, there is. Just by the way, the light blue squares on the timing tower are for the Class A cars, the red ones are for Class B. There is number 12, Andy Fido then. He is with Ash Hicklin right behind him. Hicklin goes very deep into Goddard, almost leaves the door open for Richard Stables, I think that is behind him, not Joe as it says on your timing screen there. It is Richard Stables in this race. They head along the start and finish straight. Hicklin there trying to get a place back away from Fido, get back inside the top 10, but he can't do it at Redgate Corner. Fido though runs out wide on the exit of Redgate Corner. So now dropping down through the Craner curves towards the old hairpin on lap 3 of this race. It's number 88, Richard Wise, leading by about a second and a half from the rest. There's Hicklin, number 16, in that Radical SR3. Behind him is the Richard Stables PR6 for the former champion. Well, I think the only father and son pairing to win the Bikesports Championship. Richard and Joe Stables. Joe winning it a couple of years ago, Richard winning it a decade or so ago.
So this battle continues there through Coppice Corner. Matt Moore in a new car this year. He was an SR3 last year, now in this tuned engined Radical PR6. Matt Moore, who raced saloon-type cars in the past, now sports car racer, and behind the Tim Gray Motorsport Radical SR3 RSX of Steve Bell, as they turn their way onto the Grand Prix circuit and down there in towards the Melbourne hairpin. And starting to get away now from Steve Bell is Alistair Smart there in 7th position. Although a good run there through the hairpin for Bell just brings him away once more from Matt Moore here. We're looking at in the Radical PR6, so brakes late, get the car turned in for the hairpin. So there's a lot of Class A cars here, all behind the top 3 in Class B.
Yes, there is, and that is the 86 car of Stephen Bell coming towards us now from a RGB racer, as it was then. There is Hicklin with the much narrower tracked 95 car of Richard Stables behind him, so they're in 11th and 12th position, and they're in 2 different classes as well. Stables in the Class A car, but now Bell with Moore, that North Motorsport prepared car, just behind him, but he leaves the door open, and through goes Andy Fido even on the way down into the old hairpin that time, so he goes up into 9th position, and Matt Moore, teammate of Leon Morel, is back down into 10th place.
Yeah, so Fido's come through nicely here. He started 13th. We've seen a couple of passes on circuit for him over the last couple of laps, which has promoted him to 9th. And immediately, he's getting himself onto terms with Steve Bell there, isn't he, in that battle for his 8th position as they come down the exhibition straight towards the S's, and already is looking to challenge. He brakes really late, just Fido. Well, particularly in these cars, I wasn't expecting a pass there into the S's, but Andy Fido has done a great job there. So he's gained 2 places on this lap. He's up to 8th. He's got a gap now to work on to that man. That's Alistair Smart, who is in 7th. Ahead of him, there's a Radical PR6 battle for what is 2nd in Class A between Doug Carter and between Julian Griffiths. That seemingly those 2 have been racing Bikesports for a long, long time.
They have indeed. So through Goddard hairpin, with about a third of the race gone. There's Doug Carter with Julian Griffiths just tucked in behind him now. So this is the fight for 5th and 6th position. Alistair Smart just behind them as well in the PR6. That's 5th, 6th and 7th. Time screen just confirming there that Fido has gone up to 8th place in the number 12 car. But Doug Carter, he is another driver that used to race in what was then called the RGB Championship, now called Sports 1000, of course. And Sports 1000 sharing a sponsor with Bikesports these days in the form of RLM race engines.
And most of those engines are in these cars. These 2 are being caught by Alistair Smart. There he is. Alistair Smart is lapping only a few tenths of a second off the fastest lap in this race. So Smart, who qualified 8th, he's running 7th. There he is, 73 in that Radical PR6. Turns his way down the exhibition straight towards the S's, the RJ Motorsport car then of Alistair Smart, catching both Jules Griffith and Doug Carter. And wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Fido starts to close in on these. Now he's got through those few cars over recent laps. Here comes Griffiths down the outside, brakes late, but there's not really anywhere to get through in the middle of the corner. And now Alistair Smart is with them to make it 3 Radical PR6s all together, heading towards the end of 5 laps of racing.
Yeah, it was just over a second behind, wasn't he? As the Griffiths car again tries to find a way on the outside, this time at the Goddard hairpin, but that's not working. And Smart in 7th place has got that gap down. As I say, it was over a second between them. As Griffiths has another go up the inside, and this time he has made it work into Redgate Corner. And Fido had just in 8th place has just done the best lap of the race, a 1:32.44. So he's gone faster than anybody else now. So it's Griffiths now up to 5th place, Carter down to 6th, 7th is Smart, but then Andrew Fido is now only about 2 seconds behind this 3-way battle for 5th position.
Yeah, he's lapping almost a second quicker than the leader did on the last lap. The lead gap starting to come down. It did go up, but it's a couple of seconds in it. Here they come, though, these Radical PR6s battling for 5th, 6th and 7th, now joined by Andrew Fido. He may have been 2 seconds behind the beginning of the lap. That's not the gap anymore as they turn their way onto Coppice Corner, and they turn their way then towards the Grand Prix circuit. Liam Morrell slowing. The champion from last year, who was running in 2nd, leading his class, he's slow, and he's being passed by this gaggle of cars.
All of that testing that he has been doing comes to nothing when there's a reliability issue with the car.
I wonder if it's electrical. The lights were flashing on and off on that car. So this is now the battle for the Class B lead, and Simon Walker-Hansel's been caught by Joe Locke. That was a gap of the second half. We don't know where to look. There's so many battles here in the Bikesports Championship, showing how strong this 750 Motor Club Run series is. There's battles further back as well, where Ash Hicklin's managed to get past Matt Moore on recent laps. It's impossible to know where to look, Ian.
Yeah, that's Alistair Smart now, right, with Doug Carter, who leaves the door open on the inside for Andrew Fido, who was 2 seconds behind at the start of the lap, and he's nearly with them now. He couldn't quite make that work. I think he needed to stand on the anchors a little bit to avoid a collision there. And now this is the 73 car of Smart looking up the inside of Doug Carter as well. They're both surely going to be usurped by Fido within the next few corners.
Leo Morales back up to speed. The lights have stopped flashing, so I wonder if he's sort of reset the car, and it looks like he might be back up to speed now. They're in 8th position, so he's going to be one to watch out for.
Worth saying, Richard Wise still in the lead of this race. He's 4.72 seconds ahead of Simon Walker-Hansel, but 4 Simon Walker-Hansel and 8 Joe Locke, separated only by half a second. We'll see if we can pick those up in a moment as well. But for the moment, we're watching the fight for 5th and 6th, and also 2nd and 3rd and 4th in Class A, I should say. That's Doug Carter and Alistair Smart. That is the battle for 2nd overall.
And the Class B lead between Simon Walker-Hansel and Joe Locke. I wonder now that George Griffiths has got to the front of that gaggle of cars behind, whether he can now start to set quick lap times. But it's the Eco Trailers Radical SR3 of Simon Walker-Hansel that turns its way down towards the hairpin, where Joe Locke takes a bit of an earlier turn in. But he still has to sit there in 3rd place, returning to sports car racing this year. Joe Locke, after a year out in the BMW M3 within Club Enduro. You can see him working at the wheel there with these open-topped sports cars. You can see the drivers really having to fight the cars. One of these cars is a left-hand drive car, and the other is a right-hand drive car, isn't it? These two Radical SR3s. Meanwhile, up front, Richard Wise has just done a new fastest lap of the race. A 1:32.40 as the battles behind go on. Alistair Smart gets the better of Doug Carter. Andrew Fido tries to do similar. He's unable to make it though. And Liam Morel is back up to speed. He's just set the fastest lap in Class B.
It's going to be tough for him to get any better than 3rd in Class B though, because he's got 4 Class A cars between himself and Joe Locke, and about 9 seconds as well. So I think he just needs to try and consolidate that 3rd place really.
The top 10 cars are all lapping within about a second of one another. This is absolutely fantastic racing, as we're saying, all the way through from the Bikesports Championship. Here is Walker-Hansel and Locke. They're 5 seconds behind Richard Wise, who hasn't really had anybody to race with, but about everybody else has done. And the battle for 2nd, the battle for the lead of Class B, turns its way then back down towards the S's, and Joe Locke in the tow tries to get closer and closer to Simon Walker-Hansel as they turn left and then right and then accelerate off the corner. Well, there's a couple of car lengths in it as they make their way down then in towards the hairpin, where Joe Locke this time does commit to an inside move, and Walker-Hansel's going to get the better exit, so he gets back alongside and back ahead. Does he?
Yeah, he does, but he's not. I think he's not going to have the line for Goddard, though, is he? He's much deeper into the corner. I think he almost sort of let Joe Locke take that one, and again has tried to do a similar thing, get the switch back on the exit, which doesn't seem to be a bad tactic, because they're alongside as they go over the line. But Walker-Hansel is going to be on the outside line for Redgate Corner. Can he sweep across in the lead of Class B? No, he can't. So it is Joe Locke. 2nd in Class B again though. Can he move this? The long game being played by Simon Walker-Hansel. He gets the better exit. He's got his nose in front. They go down through Craner curves towards the old hairpin. Joe Locke prevails. Is it going to be the same thing again on the exit of the old hairpin, I wonder? Oh, what a spin. That's Andrew Fido, I think, is it not, that has gone around. So his progress up to 6th place. That has come to a bit of a halt for the moment. Meanwhile, and a spinner as well further back. That's the 66 car of Richard Hardy. It looks like Joe Locke has, for the moment at least, made the Class B lead his own.
What a few corners that was, as they were side by side, from the Melbourne hairpin all the way down towards the old hairpins. About half a lap of this Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. Absolutely brilliant driving by the pair of them. They crossed the line exactly on the same time, so there was nothing that could separate them for all that period. And Liam Morale, the lights are starting to flash again on that SR3, which is concerning. He was right with Doug Carter, and Carter dropped back, I think. So I think something has happened a bit further back to Doug Carter. We'll catch up on that at the end of the lap. There's former champion Richard Stables. He's ahead of Matt Moore for what is 10th place in this race. There are 6 minutes of the 20 to go. So there is Cartier, he's dropped back.
He's slowing as well, isn't he? And as we're watching Stables and Moore go through behind in 10th and 11th position. As we watch, and of course we always on Alpha Life try and pick up the best of the action. We're not always looking for the leads, we're not always looking for the top four, we're trying to pick out the best battles, and this is the best battle right now. It's Julian Griffiths, and he's off! It's not a battle anymore, he's off. Alistair Smart goes through at Redgate corner, wheels spinning there, he's going to go nowhere. Jules Griffiths out of the race.
That was a real shame for him. He was starting to catch Simon Walker-Hansel, although Alistair Smart, currently the quickest driver on the circuit, who put him under that pressure and kind of forced him into that mistake. So there's 5 minutes to go, although race control will be looking at that car which is beached in the gravel. There is Alistair Smart. He's been having a good race. He started 8th on the grid. He's up to 4th. There's Liam Morrell really pushing on it sideways as he turns his way through McLean's. So he's trying everything, but he has got this gap of about 8 seconds to anybody else in his class. There he is, the reigning champion. He has set the fastest lap within Class B, so that will be an extra point. He was only ever beaten once last year in the class. That was in this equivalent race where he spun off into the gravel trap, and here a year later it seems to be some potential car issues that let him down in the mid part of the race, but he's well up, back up to speed now. He's fought back to 6th.
It was always going to be a tough ask to try and retain this championship from Class B, as yellow flags and safety car is now out, so with only 4.5 minutes to go, not quite sure how much more racing we're going to get here. But yeah, it was always going to be a tough ask for Leon Morrell to try and retain his title with so much more competition in Class B this season than he had last year.
Yeah, that's right. Whether we can get any more racing laps is obviously questionable, but there is that snatch vehicle down there, so if they can do this in one lap, we might have a one-lap shootout at the end, which could be quite spectacular.
Let's have a replay of that incident that has brought about this safety car period. Here we go. Josh, talk us through this.
So, Alistair Smart had caught Jules Griffiths, who then braked late, turned into Redgate, and just run out of grip, didn't he? And spun into the gravel. The car's so close to the edge of the circuit and wasn't going anywhere, so therefore there was really no option. I didn't think they'd be able to carry on with that car there. And yeah, the snatch track is not there yet, is it? So I doubt any more racing will be done, but I'm sure the crew down there will work as quickly as possible. Yeah,
they're pretty efficient here at Donington in terms of being able to hook those vehicles up and get them out of the way. So the Randall McGowan safety car leading them around. It did pick up race leader Richard Wise, so the order with 3.5 minutes to go is number 88, Richard Wise leading. In second place is number 8, Joe Locke, who leads Class B. In third place is number 4, Simon Walker-Hansel. Fourth is number 73, Alistair Smart. Fifth, number 1, Leon Morrell. Sixth is number 16, Ash Hicklin. Seventh is number 95, Richard Stables. Eighth is number 20, Matt Moore. Ninth is number 86, Steve Bell, who's in Class B rather than Class A, actually, is being shown on the screens. And 10th, number 12, Andrew Fido, despite that spin.
So everybody in the top 7's best lap is within a second, much like it was in qualifying. But there's some different drivers within that top 7, because Alistair Smart, he qualified 8th. He's got up to 4th. Ash Hicklin qualified 10th. He's got up to 6th. And Richard Stables, who qualified 12th, has got up to 7th and are lapping within a second of the fastest lap of the race, which really is interesting to see how that's gone. And I think, therefore, our second race of the weekend is going to provide further interest in the Bikesports Championship to look forward to.
Yep, cars making their way down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's. And pretty much the whole pack is going to be behind the safety car, so that's nice and neat as well.
But for the second race, we are expecting that that Joe Stables will be driving Richard's car from the back of the grid, which adds even another element into this race that happen later on. Yeah,
I don't think we're going to get any more racing though, are we, Josh? Because the Jules Griffiths car still has not been recovered from the Redgate gravel trap, and the safety car has nearly completed another lap.
Yeah, that's right. So a disappointing way to end what has been a fantastic race. That is for sure. Richard Wise may have not seen so much of the battling, but he'll be pleased with a win, I'm sure. But the battles for pretty much everybody else in the pack was absolutely fantastic, with overtaking, with side-by-side action. We saw at least 2 class lead battles within Class B have a side-by-side battle down the Craner curves.
And the checkered flag is waved, I can see, so the race coming to a slightly premature end, and it is Richard Wise that wins round 1 of the 2022 RLM Racing Bike Sports Championship, Joe Locke it is that takes second place and wins Class B. In third place, number 4, Simon Walker-Hansel. Fourth to number 73, Alistair Smart. Fifth to number 1, Leon Morel. And rounding out the top 6 is Ash Hicklin. And I'm afraid a sad end to that race. Fortunately, no serious incident, just Jules Griffiths having spun off into the gravel in the car and able to be recovered in time, but not too much damage done. I'm sure there'll be some gravel to scoop out of his car, but hopefully we'll see him out for race 2 later on this evening.
But how well does this bode for the rest of the season in the Bike Sports Championship, and where you can bring any type of bike-engined sports car, sports prototype, and it will be competitive, as we've seen here. The Mattel, the SR3 and the PR6 all running at the front of the field. And let's take a look at the race results of round 1 of the RLM Racing Bike Sports Championship.
Yeah, so Richard Wise it was that took the win in that slightly shortened race in the only Mattel in the race, the Mattel MC41R. He was 9/10 of a second clear, although it wasn't the safety car conditions, from Joe Locke, number 8, who won Class B in his Radical SR3, and he was just ahead of number 4, Simon Walker-Hansel, who was 3rd overall and 2nd within that class. In 4th place, number 73, Smart, he was 2nd of the Class A cars. 5th to number 1, Leon Morel, 3rd in Class B, and 6th to number 16, Ash Hicklin. In 7th place was number 95, which was Richard Stables in that race. 8th was number 20, Matt Moore. 9th, number 86, actually a Class B driver, Steve Bell. And 10th was number 12, Andrew Fido, although he did have that spin. Further back, we had Mark Grayson, Ian Charles, the 33 car was Lee Jackson. Richard Harder, he was another spinner, and Andy Tidy was 15th. Doug Carter coming home 16th with those problems towards the end. The non-finisher being Jules Griffiths with that spin into Redgate a couple of laps from the end that brought about the safety car. So in a few moments' time we'll go into our lunch break, which probably won't last very long, in all honesty, before we get our Formula V Championship race underway after the break. But then we will have the Carmel Porsche Trophy, more MR2s, and the centrepiece of the day's action, the 125-minute race for the TQR Club Enduro Championship, the opening round of the season for those. Before all of that, though, we'll be heading down to pit lane in just a few moments' time. We're going to hear from the 2 class winners from the RLM Bike Sports Championship rather than the overall top 3. So that should be Joe Locke, who had that battle for the class win with Simon Walker-Hansel. Once we lost Leon Morel with that temporary electrical issue, as we think it was. We'll also hear from our overall race winner, Richard Wise, as well. So top driver from each class is who we'll hear from in the RLM Racing Bike Sports Championship this weekend. I can see the cars are just pulling into the pit lane now, so we'll let them get out of the cars, and we will hand down to Matt Suckling in just a moment. The grid for race 2 has already been set, hasn't it, Josh? Because it's the second fastest lap time in qualifying that sets the grid for race 2 in bike sports. I don't know if you've seen how that leaves things for the second race. Who does put on pole?
It's a pretty similar grid, really, with Wide, Morel, Walker-Hansel, Lease and Locke, the top 5, but with Joe Stables at the back. And I wouldn't put it past Joe Stables winning that race. To be honest, but that really adds another element to it, doesn't it? To see how he can get through the field, and this is the whole season now for bike sports. Really looks to be in great shape, I would imagine. And Richard Wise, I'm sure, will be delighted with that first victory in a while. And Matt Suckling will be chatting to him in a few moments. Yeah, I can just see down below as Richard Wise is getting out of his car. Matt is going to present him with the winner's garland as well. He's a good lad, is Matt. He'll do anything that we ask of him, including giving out the prizes. And we'll hand down to him in just a few moments' time. And I think we're ready, in fact, to go down to him right now. So down to you, Matt, in the pit lane with Richard Wise.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yep, down here with our race winner, which is Richard Wise. Richard, up until the safety car, quite a healthy lead you had there.
I never look behind me, not once, and I've made that mistake many times, so I don't really know, to be honest. So it's a brilliant day for me today, because this is the first pole I've ever had in bike sports, and it's also the first time we've won with this Mattel car. and my wife and my daughter are somewhere in the crowd all dressed in orange just to bring me luck, so it's definitely worked.
It really has, and yeah, it was a shame about the safety car because it would have been a nice way to end under a green flag with checker flag, but yeah, you're right, the Mattel's doing well. Great place to be today here at Donington Park, and all things working as they should be.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried because this is only a 1 litre car and there's a lot of very powerful cars on the grid, but I think I got a bit of help because the wind has died down today and the times yesterday were nowhere near what I can do today, and I think so the gods up there have helped me and they've kept the wind down, so that's great.
You got another race to look forward to a little bit later on, so I'm sure you're going to try and do the double.
I definitely am, yeah.
Well done, Richard, many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There we go, Richard Wise, the winner then of the overall race and also Class A. Let's just see if we can grab a quick word with Joe, who's over here. Joe, come and join us if you wouldn't mind. We'll have a quick chat with Joe, who finished in second place and winner of Class B there. That was a good little scrap you had.
Yeah, it was good. It was good racing with Simon. You know, we had wheel-to-wheel action for about 2 laps, you know, and I just got him down. Well, I did my cues a couple of times, but he got me back every time. He got the drive out, so we had a nice bit of footage down Craners, you know, wheel-to-wheel. But I think there was about 2 centimetres in between us, so yeah, it was good. No, it was a good result. We've got tons more to get in the car. You know, it's our first time back in first time back in a Radical. But probably only did about eight sessions, I think, 8 races in an SR3 before. So it's a bit more of a learning curve because the PR6 is just different, you know, completely different car to drive.
Yeah, of course, as you said, back this year to the Radical, you did BMWs last year, did with something different. How did that go?
Yeah, the BM was good. It was just, you know, you can't get that. You've got that buzz of a Radical, and you just can't fix it. You know, the only thing I can do is slick some wings now to get my actual, you know, adrenaline buzz. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, mate.
And as you said, a great battle with Simon there, because he's been a bit canny, wasn't he? He was letting you go down the inside, and all of a sudden he was coming back on the draft back.
Yeah, you get the drive back every time, and I knew if I didn't keep my head down through Craners, he was going to have that line, so I just kept up. I had to keep my foot in, and it was a bit of a sketchy moment, but it stuck, so we ended up pulling away then. I think his tyres started to go off, mine started to come on. We had a different strategy, you know, our time started to come in later on, and that's, you know, that was our aim, you know, to let everyone else destroy the tyres and then we come back.
It looked like you enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, I did, yeah. There's plenty more to get through the car as well, so it's just the start, innit?
Good stuff. Well done, Joe. Many congratulations to you as well, and good luck for race number 2 a little bit later on. So there we go. RLM Racing Bikesports Championship is done for now, but as we said, more to look forward to a little bit later on. But for now, I'll hand back up to Ian and Josh.